Indian culture is the most complex and colorful culture on this planet. The way people look, their language, their food, their way of dressing, and their music and dance. Everything changes from every 50 or 100 kilometers in this country. And it is due to this reason that India was called the preceptor of the universe or Jagadguru in ancient times. So here we are, the team Clara Solis, all set to take you all on a beautiful ride where we explore some of the outstanding contributions made by our Indians in various fields. Let's dive in.
Talking about the views of the West and Indian towards logic and experiments. Experiment science seems to have made its appearance in the West about 450 years ago with Galileo. Before that, Copernicus has established the scientific belief that the sun is stationary and the earth goes around it. Before Galileo, everyone the world over believed that a heavy object will fall faster than a lighter one, because Aristotle had said that a 10-pound stone would fall 10 times faster than a 1-pound stone. Galileo challenged this belief and said that if we neglect the air resistance, then both the objects will fall together on the ground.
The British considered themselves very intelligent, but they had never seen cotton fiber until they came to India. Hence, the cotton plant, the cotton fibers, the thread made out of it, and the cloth was all new to them. All they knew was that wool was taken from sheep and the cloth was made from it. Hence, they used to say that Indians were very clever.
Now talking about the India's views on logic and experiment. For thousands of years, we in India have had complete freedom in education. No one was arrested or burnt alive because of his thoughts. Let us take an example. In India, we have always a sacred feeling towards the Vedas, the treasure of knowledge and their seeds. About them and those who created them, the materialist Charvak has said, those who created the three Vedas are hypocritical, cunning and evil. Despite such distorted statements, Charvak was never ill-treated. In fact, he was also accorded to the status of philosopher.
These examples tell us that we in India always valued reasoning and proof more than the blind faith. We have had the freedom of thoughts and experiments since those times when the West could not imagine it even in a dream. Hence, acquainting and familiarizing our present generation with the scientific tradition of our country will be a medium to free the country from its inferiority complex and develop the feeling of a self-sufficiency and self-respect.
Talking about the Indian mathematics. Indian mathematics emerged in the Indian subcontinent from 1200 BC until the end of 18th century. In the classical period of Indian mathematics, important contributions were made by scholars like Aryabhatta, Brahmagupta, Bhaskara II. The decimal number system in use today was first recorded in Indian mathematics. Indian mathematics made early contribution to the study of the concept of zero as a number, negative numbers, arithmetic and algebra. In addition, trigonometry was further advanced in India, and in particular, the modern definition of sine and cosine were developed there.
The astronomical calculations and deductions suggested by Aryabhatta are extraordinary by the fact that he didn't have any modern equipment or instrument to do it. He also said that moon has no light and shines because it reflects from the sun. He also proved wrong the false belief that eclipse is because of the shadows that are cast by the earth and the moon. Aryabhatta used epicycles in a similar manner to the Greek philosopher to illustrate the inconsistent movement of some planets.
Contribution to the mathematics is unmatched and cannot be ignored, as he was the one who deduced the approximate value of pi, which he found it to be 3.14. He also derived the correct formulas for calculating the areas of triangles and circles. He also played a very important role in the formation of the tables of signs.
Brahmagupta was the first mathematician to provide the formula for the area of a cyclic quadrilateral. His contributions to geometry are significant. He is the first person to discuss the method of finding a cyclic quadrilateral with rational sides.
Talking about the Kalampuri Radhakrishna Rao, the living genius and one of the famous Indian mathematicians, contributed to the field of estimation theory, biometry, statistical interference, and functional equations. Deeply interested in the study of data analysis and statistical education, he aimed to put India on the global map in the field of statistics. He helped bright students pursue their career in the field of statistics and still continue to motivate them to discover the unexplored. Okay, now a quick question. What is India's greatest contribution to mathematics? That's an easy one. The most important mathematical contribution of ancient India, the invention of the decimal system of numeration, including the number 0. The unique feature of this system is the use of 9 digits and the symbol 0 to represent all the integrals number by assigning a place value to the digits.
Coming to architecture. Architecture is the built realization of a particular concept or an idea. This idea can be about a construction or how the people will be using the building or how the building fits into a physical or a social landscape. Architecture is both the process and product of planning, designing and constructing buildings or other structures or architectural works in the material forms of buildings. And they are often perceived as cultural symbols or works of art.
Ajanta Caves. Carved over a period of several centuries, the mystery of Ajanta Caves might never have been uncovered had it not been for a chance pursuit of a tiger by the British officer John Smith in the year 1890. As old as 2200 BC, the caves are located in Aurangabad district of Maharashtra. Over the multitude of years, they fell in disuse and forests grew over and around them. Carved over many years by different artisans, they are believed to have been made a refuge for the Buddhist monks during the rains. Some go as far as to say that they were pathways to heaven.
Dwarka S.R. Rao discovered during the archaeological excavations that the ancient traces or ruins that have been found there tell us that Dwarka too was a very well-planned city surrounded by a wall. The buildings were made of a stone would not be corroded in a seawater. One can see the double-storied buildings, roads and water arrangements. Copper, brass and some mixed metals have also been found. The mixed metals had 34% zinc. The measurements and shapes of the pillars, window panes, etc. used for the buildings were all calculated mathematically.
Adding on to that, the port of Lothal was built around 2500 BC, where not just small barges but even big ships took harbor. Because of the port, a big city had also developed here. Its construction was very similar to that of Mohenjodaro and Harappa. Roads, buildings, gardens, lawns and public buildings were all there. The cremation ground was built a little away from the city dwelling. Lothal port was spread 300 meters north-south and 400 meters east-west. It had a 13-meter high wall made of mud, bricks, etc. to keep floods and storms away. The port was far more developed than the Phoenician and Roman ports made later.
The archaeological excavations reveal the amazing construction of this wonderful city that dates back to 3000 BC. And yes, the city's name is Mohenjodaro. It was an extremely well-planned city whose houses, roads, etc. had all been made as per geometrical measurements. The roads were found, they were very absolutely straight, running from east to west and from north to south. The other amazing thing is that they crossed one another at an angle of 90 degrees. And observing this, one feels that who had built the city must have been very well versed with architectural science.
Bhim Chandra Chatterjee, scholar of hydropower engineering in ancient India, writes that 4 generations of Ayodhya's rulers had devoted their lives to bring the river Ganga from the Himalayas. But finally, the great Bhagirath succeeded. The flow of the Ganga was redirected towards the Bay of Bengal at Varanasi. It seems to turn towards the north and branches out into 2, Varun and Asi, both fed by the Ganga, as they are derived from it. At places where the intensity of water is very high, the excess water can be made to flow out. There is no other example to show such a brilliant way of preventing floods.
And since we have come to an end of this beautiful journey, the most common value that we all observed is the affection towards our motherland. No matter how many technological advancements we go through or no matter how many differences we have one thing in common, and that is our motherland, and staying rooted to our ancestral visions can actually make us better human beings. If it wasn't for our motherland, then we wouldn't have been here.
So, here we come to an end of displaying this beautiful journey of India to you all. Hope you all had as much fun seeing it as much as we had making it. And since in life every ending is just a new beginning.
Until then, Jai Hind.